What is up, everyone? It's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, coming at you live every Wednesday at 8 p.m., 8 p.m.-ish today, going over the market stats, the local news that you need to know about if you think about buying, selling, or investing here in Northeastern Florida, and also at the very end, doing a Q&A. So if you do have any questions, if you're watching it live, if you're watching the replay, please let me know any questions, any comments you may have. Get it going back and forth here while we're on the live, because I'm here for you guys every Wednesday at 8 p.m. to get your questions answered. And if you do have a question, I guarantee someone else has that exact same question. So there's no stupid questions out there, guys. But like we do every single week, we're going to start off with the market stats. So let's go over and switch over to the MLS. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're just going to take a look at what's going on here in the market like we do every single week. And I didn't bring it up. Okay, cool. All right, well, here we go. Sorry, I was looking at this for a customer the other day. So let's take a look at the overall market conditions here. And we've been tracking this week over week, and I think I have some slightly good news. This number is up from last week. So we may have finally hit the bottom of our inventory essentially, because typically that bottom comes in March, and we haven't hit it yet. We're getting towards the end of April here. So we are wondering when that was going to happen. We knew because summertime is typically when everything starts to take off. More people are looking to move during that time. So we see active listings coming up during the spring and summertime, but it was a lot later this spring, probably for a variety of factors. But I think it's going to be because of the mortgage interest rates, the market conditions, a lot of people locking in an interest rate lower than 4%. I think there's over 70% of people have an interest rate over 4 or under 4%. Which is pretty crazy. And I think like 90% of people have an interest rate under current interest rates today. So that leads for an interesting market, which we are in, guys. And we're just interpreting this. We're doing the best we can every single week. So if you are looking to stay tuned, I think this is one of the most valuable parts, because you can go back to every live stream and look how things have changed just for yourself. I mean, I'm not manipulating anything, guys. I'm going right on here, showing you what's going on. So let's look at the hot sheet here. We got new listings, 1,200 new listings over the past week. Things are heating up. That's a little bit more. I think typically we see around 1,000 new listings, but 1,200 to 843 closed. So let's say that's 8.5 out of 12 homes that are coming on the market are closing, and we have price changes 1 for 1. So for every new listing coming on the market, we're seeing a little bit more than everything on the market adjust and make price changes for the competition that's coming. So if you were looking to sell, you had less competition over these past couple months, and now we're going to see more homes come to the market. So it's still a great time to sell. It is a seller's market. We have 2 months of inventory available. So 2 months of homes available. So new listing to pending and contingent taking backup. I like to consider that together as under contract. So we got almost 1,500 homes pending and 1,200 new listings. So more homes going off the market than coming onto the market currently. And then only 274 back on market. So let's say really that if 270 dropped out of this 1,500 here, you'd roughly be at the same number. So new listings coming on. So 1 for 1, which I think is it's really good to look at, guys, because our market is still very strong here. We've had months and months of every day the news story was the housing market's going to crash. This is happening. Interest rates are this, and it was a lot of hecticness, a lot of fear-based news going on now. And as we can see here, nothing has really changed in our area. The market's still holding strong. But the one thing in today's market, which we are experiencing, is that if you are a seller, you are giving a little bit. This time last year, you weren't really given too much of anything because it was still a pretty solid market for you in terms of competition. Wasn't that much. But as a buyer, now you're able to negotiate, keep some money in your pocket, and get some maybe closing costs added from the seller, and just have a little bit more wiggle room at purchase price. Whereas before you were, 100, I think last year around this time was like 101% of purchase price, what was average on the market. So everything was going up and above that. For the best homes, I imagine even more. So we'll always stay on top of this, guys, every week, looking at that kind of stats. And then we will be adding a breakdown of the market, which is going to come every month now. I just need to get better at doing it. Those videos take a lot of time and a lot of research, and I think they add a ton of value, but some people just don't like the numbers like I do. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here, guys. But either way, if you have any questions about the market, what's going on here, let me know in the comments below. A certain area that you're interested in, let me know. We can check it out live here on the screen. So we're going to go ahead on to the next news story. Share my screen here. All right. So this is something that I've touched on before, and I think this is something that if you are looking to not spend a ton of money, but you want to live in St. Johns County and you want to be close to downtown St. Augustine, you want to be close to the beach, I would definitely consider Hastings. It is a more rural area, and things are changing in Hastings, and that to me is evident, but it may not be evident to people relocating to our area. So Hastings used to be a boom town. Used to be, I think it's Henry Flagler's brother. He wanted him to start a fruit stand there to supply the guests at the Flagler Hotel fruits from when they stay there. So when they were in season. So it was a little bit of a boom town, but it's not really anymore. But local real estate pros are trying to revitalize Hastings Main Street, and it looks like things are starting to go through. They've had applications from major chains to put restaurants in there, but they've denied it because they want to keep it a smaller feel. They want to keep it more local, which is something that I really respect, because they could have already get at least tenants in there, and they denied it for someone more local. So that's pretty awesome. These are Jen Baker Dennis of Great Expectation Realty and Alan Dennis of Great Expectation Realty. They purchased a property, and they're looking to change Hastings in the main street down there. If you go down there now, there's not really anything going on, but they're going to be having, I think 30,000 square feet for a restaurant and office space. And they're going to have one of the 3 buildings, which is going to be 18,000 square feet available for a restaurant or a coffee shop with offices on the 2nd floor. And they're going to have another building here, which is going to be event space that could host anything from weddings to arts and crafts expos. So I think that would be something really, really cool to add to the Hastings area. But let me show you on the map here, guys, where this is at, so you have an understanding of how close this is to downtown St. Augustine, because it's really not that far at all. And it's very, very easy to get, what the heck? It's very, very easy to get from downtown St. Augustine to Hastings and to the beach, and pretty much anywhere in Jacksonville too, because you're right off of 95. So let's take a look at the directions here. We'll just go over to St. Augustine Beach so you can see how far that is. So look, you're 30 minutes to the beach. That's on 207 right now, and it's also clocking it at 8 o'clock at night. So there's no traffic really. You're going to make it right over to the beach. But let's say it's going to take you 40 minutes, when you have some traffic added in there. That's not too bad. If you wanted to go up to the historic district, that's literally right up 207. It runs into US 1 right here. And you're going to take a right onto King Street. You're downtown St. Augustine in 30 minutes. That's not bad at all, right? You need to go to Jacksonville for work. Let's just do Center City. Hopefully that pulls up Center City, Jacksonville. There we go. Boom. Center of Jacksonville. All right. It's 52 minutes right now. Probably would take you, an hour during rush hour, but that's still not too bad to live in a more rural area and pay a lot less price per square foot than you would in most of St. Johns County. The one thing to add with that, let me go back to this news story here, and they outlined it here too, but the county is also going to build a new library, a community center on Main Street. And I just covered another news story about them talking about adding a technical college to Hastings as well, which could blow that entire area up. Now, another thing that I'd also really like to point out is that downtown St. Augustine, historic St. Augustine, is essentially run with tourists all the time. And maybe that's changed over these past couple of years, whereas prior years it wasn't like that. You definitely had more of a lull. So the people that live here in St. Augustine and St. Johns County don't really have another place to hang out within St. Johns County. And I really believe that there needs to be another place for locals to hang out, which is why I like this idea here. I think this is going to spark another little town in St. Johns County that could be cool and have like a nice little coffee shop, little venue that you might go check out a concert or something like that. That would be awesome to have in another place other than downtown St. Augustine, where all the traffic and everything, all the tourists are at, right? Especially if you're a local here. You know, if you live in New York City, do you go to hang out in Times Square? No, you don't do that. You don't go to the Statue of Liberty. You don't go to Times Square because it's a mess. You don't want to go down there. So that's kind of the similar situation here that we're having is we don't have another place to hang out besides downtown St. Augustine and also the beach, of course, right? But I'd really like to see another place for people that live here to hang out where they don't have to go spend the New York City prices of downtown St. Augustine. They could just kind of spend like what locals will want to spend around here. So that's why I like Hastings. And I also I like West King, West Augustine. I think that area, West King Street, they do right now, they have West King Wednesdays where all the vendors come out. They do a little farmer's market right on West King, where the Bog Brewery is, where Mugsy's is. I really like that area, and I think that's going to be something for more locals to go to. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how that happens. And I'm going to be driving by there as well pretty often because my sister's in Palatka, so I will stay up to date on everything going on in Hastings. I think it's something that if you're looking to get more bang for your buck but still be close to everything, it's definitely something worth considering. Or if you just want to not be near all the hustle and bustle, Hastings could be a cool little spot for you. So if you have any questions, reach out to me directly. Let's see here. I've got someone leaving me a question here. Let's see. They're unlisted, so let's check it out. Unlisted. With the market not being pandemic red hot, are you seeing agents leave who jumped in? I remember articles about how flooded the market was with agents in 2020 to 2022 before rates rose due to ease of selling homes. So that's a great question. And I'm 100% expecting agents to get out of the business. And it's great. It's a really great thing because 87% of agents fail within the first 2 years. And that's because it's not an easy job. You got to go out and you got to make your own way every single day, and there's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of spinning your wheels and not getting paid. That happens a lot. You do a lot of things and you don't get paid for it. And there's a lot of things that agents do that aren't necessarily in the spotlight. Everyone thinks it's easy money. And in the past couple of years, I think people jumped in and made quote unquote easy money because the market kind of dictated that. You didn't have to tell people like, hey, buying a house is a good financial decision. People wanted to buy a house. They were lining up to do it, right? You didn't have to sell them on one specific house. Not that anyone really does that. You pick the house. I just kind of help you through it. But you didn't have to sell them on the idea of buying a house, why it's a good financial investment, all that kind of stuff. People wanted to do that. That's a big hurdle in the first place. But then also the market was red hot. Everyone was looking to buy. Interest rates were super low, which made it so affordable for pretty much everybody. So everyone knew a realtor, a friend, a brother, a cousin, who never did a deal in their life. And they were like, hey, I'll use them. Why not? And then as a buyer, that was tough. If you were working on the buyer end the past couple of years, that's not true. This was not an easy market for you. I worked as a buyer's agent in the pandemic. And when you're a buyer's agent competing against 30 other buyers on an offer, you're doing a lot more work than you're doing prior to the pandemic. So the only way it was easy money is if you represented a seller. So if you have, and typically, which is why most brokerages will just hire anyone. Typically, most people know someone that may be looking to sell in the next 30, 60, 90 days just based off of their friend group. So they get their friend to list with them, they sell their house over value, and they make quote unquote easy money, right? And as a listing agent the past couple of years, that has been easy. You didn't need skills to pay the bills, right? But I think as this market starts to change, which it is changing, and I think it's changing again towards a different direction, those skills are going to be more important. We're not going to see as many transactions. Therefore, not as many agents are going to be able to afford to live. They're going to go to other jobs. But I'm 100% excited for it because it's hard to defend your profession to some people. I'm luckily at the point now where I don't have to defend what I do. I don't have to justify my value to people. Luckily, because I have my YouTube here and people, they can find a ton of value on here, right? But if you're not willing to work with me and my what I need for you to move forward, if you're not willing to get pre-approved, then what are we doing? I'm wasting my time. You're not getting pre-approved, and you need a mortgage. What's going on? It doesn't make sense. So I think low value agents will leave the business in droves, and that's going to be most of them, because in most industry, yours probably included unlisted, 20% of the people do most of the work, right? 80% of the people just kind of hang out and sit at the water cooler and shoot the shit. But I'm with the 20%. So beautiful, guys. If you have any questions, any comments about what's going on in today's market, let me know in the comments below. You're watching the replay. Make sure you leave me a comment. I try to get back to them as soon as I can. Let's head on to the next news story, unlisted. I appreciate the comment. It was a good question. Let's go. All right. I should have brought my water bottle up here. I didn't. I'm parched, but we're getting after it. All right. So, guys, we've been following this. Teachers, right? Teachers in St. Johns County. A big reason people move to St. Johns County is because the school district, the number 2 school district in the state of Florida, St. Johns County Education Association continues pay negotiations with school board tonight. So this is obviously today. I don't really have an update on it and what's going to happen. I will follow up on it next week. Look, there, I can see here this increased their base pay to $47,500. Average sale price in St. Johns County and $47,500 don't really match up too well unless you have a significant other that makes a good bit of money. So they're just asking for more money so they don't need to work a second job, so they can actually dive in and pour into these kids, make sure they're learning some good stuff, and also so we can keep that number 1, number 2 spot. You go from number 1 to number 2. I mean, that's not that big of a deal. But if you go from number 1 to number 2 to number 3 year over year, I mean, that doesn't look good, right? That's not what you want. And I think all of us can agree. And I don't think one taxpayer in St. Johns County would say that they don't agree that we should have good education for our kids. So to me, it seems like we should pay these guys. And maybe that needs to be through the sales tax, because they did try to vote on the sales tax prior and people voted it down. But if they're not getting money from sales tax, guys, where are they going to get money from? It's going to get money from property taxes, right? So they're going to be hitting the property owners up for more money, opposed to the people who are visiting our town, which are 8 million tourists every single year. I don't think the education was there on that vote, but we'll stay on it. We got the main man, Alejandro. He's about to lock in a nice little townhome in Shearwater. Alejandro, thankful for you being here, man. Thankful for your friendship and your business, of course. But look forward to you moving to town, man. Appreciate you. So let's go on to the next news story. I'm going to take you down here, Alejandro. All right, share my screen. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go here. And super embarrassing. I did this the other day and didn't share my screen with a person, and I just feel bad about it. I was like showing them all this stuff, missed like 2 minutes of me presenting something. Either way, we've talked about this before, guys. New program could buy out oceanfront homes in St. Johns County. Florida lawmakers are setting aside $2.5 million to purchase about 20 homes in St. Johns County. This all spurred from Summerhaven, where they've been hit with hurricanes year over year, causing major erosion. So 2.5 million, that ain't too much. I mean, that's I doubt that's even going to make a dent in what those people want. That might be one house. County Commissioner Henry Dean says he believes this program will be about 4 to 5 years and every home would be purchased at a fair market value. Okay, so that's going to be on an annual basis until they end up buying all these houses. So I don't know. I mean, that's oceanfront for sure. And they also got riverfront property sometimes too. So it's hard to beat. But getting a road out there is obviously a big problem. And also, if anything happens, no one's going to be able to get out to you. I don't see anyone taking that deal, though, to be 100% honest. I mean, then again, you walk away with cash, depending when you bought the house, how much you paid for it and all. but they're talking oceanfront homes they used to have just like a beautiful dirt road out to it. And now it's mostly eroded. So they're trying to figure out what to do with these guys. I don't know, guys. What do you think? What do you think they should do? Do you think the county should buy it back? Do you think the people that bought the land should kind of just, hey, it's kind of what it is, what it is? You know, you have you learn something in real estate school which you never use again, but you have I think it's called littoral and riparian rights, so lake and river rights essentially. And if a river brings, because it's always naturally eroding stuff and it ends up adding land to your property, great, good for you. But if it ends up taking away land, nothing we can do about it, right? And same thing with the lake. So it's probably the only time I've ever brought that up since my real estate classes. But let's see here. We got Terralina Preston here. Love St. Augustine. We've been considering moving there, as you know, but we hear property insurance are going up to at 40% this year. What's your opinion on that? Yeah, property insurance is definitely more expensive here, and in a way, everyone talks about Florida having cheaper county. Can't talk today, guys. Talk about Florida having cheaper property taxes overall than everywhere else, but we make up for it in other areas like insurance, and we are seeing a change in insurance over these past couple of years. Insurance companies are being a lot more strict about policies, about roofs, about all of this kind of stuff. Insurance companies are pulling out completely out of the state, but we've got some great connections here. Depending on the home, what you're looking for. If it's on the water, your insurance is going to be high for sure, and you're going to have some change in policy. I think the biggest thing is that a lot of the major policy insurance providers throughout the country, like the national providers, are not insuring people here for homes anymore, right? And that's a big change where everyone's used to getting the Geico, the State Farm, all those basic, national change for insurance. They're not really doing anything here in Florida anymore, and you're having to go more of a local brokerage. But yeah, we are seeing increases. We are seeing changes. That's for sure. I'm looking to have an insurance guy here, Justin Thompson with Brightway. He's fantastic. If you have questions about insurance, I don't have his contact info readily available here, but he's definitely someone to look into. Justin Thompson with Brightway Insurance. He's a broker and he can shop a couple different things. So if you're looking at a certain area, that's something I always recommend, though, in the contract process, right? You have your 10-day inspection period. If you're worried about insurance costs, we're going to get that insurance quote within that 10 days just to make sure that you're covered and you're comfortable with that payment, right? So typically he'll get that to us, no problem. So if you have any questions about it, reach out directly, Terralina, and we'll get you sorted, no problem. But I appreciate that question. It's a great question. I hope I answered it. Let's go on to the next news story, guys. If you have any questions, be just like Unlisted and Terralina and leave me a question below. Unlisted is firing them off here today. What do you think this famous house will sell for? If you're talking about the blue house that is on Vilano Beach, so different area. Funny enough, erosion's happening all over St. Johns County. It's just something you got to deal with when you live on the ocean. But that's a different area. If you're talking about the famous blue house that's on stilts that you can't get to, I think that's for sale right now. Let me double check here real quick. Could be wrong, but I think it is for sale. It's probably $1 million. I wouldn't be surprised if it's $1 million. That's just for oceanfront, waterfront property anymore. That's just what it costs. $1 million here. You want to get right up on it. That's really it. So let's see here. Let's see if we can find the infamous blue house. I think it is for sale. I could be wrong on that, but computer's acting slow. I'm live streaming. I'm doing this. My wife's watching Netflix. Unbelievable. So let's see. We'll see if we can find it here. I think it's further south. I don't know the address of it. I might just give this search up here. It might take me too long. Might be under contract already. Who knows? But either way, we'll see. Yeah, they price cut it below $1 million, but I doubt it will get that. Yeah, so it's out there somewhere. I don't remember the exact address of it, but I mean, I feel like I think I talked about it on my live stream a couple weeks ago. You probably got to bring like $1 million. I don't know what the cost of like hauling that much sand. I know it's very heavy and everything, But you got to bring that much sand in. Then you got to also kind of engineer it in some way that you're not going to get the same erosion effect. I mean, yeah, I'd probably have to agree with you. That's a big project. That's a big project versus like other lots that are just like ready to build on, that sit higher, that are $1 million. I think most buyers are going to be like, yeah, just go up here. So we'll see what happens with that. Pretty interesting though. I really think it is pretty interesting how they're trying to sell that house. But I got to say that builder, and I think it was Runk Construction here in St. Augustine, I think he's probably made a killing since that video came out, because they interviewed him like, hey, would you build this house again? He's like, I'll do whatever the customer wants. Like, I thought that was fantastic. That was a great answer. He's like, I mean, you're going to pay me money, I'll do it. So yeah. So you also need to stop a wall to stop the ocean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to engineer it somehow. But either way, I appreciate that comment though. We'll see what happens with it. Someone will buy it. Someone will buy it. They'll get a deal on it because they're going to have to do more work than the average person. But I imagine they're going to have a good bit of work to do regardless, and it's going to be cool whatever they do. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, guys, appreciate you unlisted. Maybe you get, I don't know if that's your screen name or if you're protecting your identity, but I appreciate you undercover. All right, so let's go here on to the next one. Oh, no, I already talked about this. All right, we got one more, guys. So if you have any questions, that's not the news story I pulled up here. Maybe I messed that one up. I had it here. Unbelievable. Well, let's see what I had here, guys. I know I had it saved here, but it's gone for me now. So, bummer. Well, hey, this is something that I should pull up here. I mean, this is part of living here in Florida. Seems like DeSantis is doing stuff every single day, but this is something that's important. Florida bans teaching of gender identity and sexual orientation through 12th grade. So that's everything, right? So that's talking about all sexual orientation, all gender identity. I don't really know anything about it, to be honest, but that's definitely something to check out. Let's see here. There was one important news story. So interest rates have jumped. I mean, this is something to talk about. They've gone up, which is not what we wanted to see, right? So increased to 6.43 from 6.3. And for the past couple of weeks, we've really been between 6 and 6.3. And unfortunately, they're starting to go back up. Oh, what the heck is all this? Okay. So applications to refinance a home decreased 6% from previous week and were 56% lower than the same week 1 year ago. And that's because no one's refinancing right now. You talk to any lender partner and they're like, man, you know what? When interest rates were good and the market wasn't moving so much because we had no inventory, we could always do refinance. But that's where you're seeing a lot of banks struggling right now, is because the refinance game is not there right now, right? They only have mortgage applications. So only new business coming in, not people that they've done business with in the past. Because 99% of people or 90% of people, all statistics are made up, right? Have a mortgage rate under the current mortgage rate today. Because anyone who had a mortgage rate, if they had the financial ability to refinance when interest rates hit 3%, they were doing it, right? And why wouldn't you? It saves you a bunch of money every month. So a lot of people are sitting pretty at the mortgage rates because of what's happened these past couple of years. And there's no refinance business, which is something that typically keeps these guys afloat when there's not original mortgage origination business. So really interesting, guys. I'm sorry, I thought I had another news story there, but let's see here. We got one more comment, or it looks like a couple. Great answer, both. Unlisted. The commercial real estate market is in trouble. And I 100% agree with that. I think even as, New York saying like they want people to come back to office work, I have a theory on this, okay? Let me know what you guys think about this. Now, office work has happened, and it was something some people have worked from home jobs prior pandemic, became way more common once the pandemic happened, right? Now, all these offices have big leases that they got to take care of, right? during the pandemic, I mean, technically they were, I mean, at a lot of places they probably had a moratorium where they didn't have to pay rent or yada yada. But now that all that's potentially over, right? But it has nothing changed for the employer. They're still paying the employee the same amount, right? Whether they're at the office or they're not, if they're still making the same amount of money, what is the least matter in having people in the seats? You just want to fill the seats, right? I don't really agree with that. So I think with the draw back to offices, what people are going to what's going to happen is the people that have to go back to the office, they're not going to be the best of the best, right? Because if you're a great work from home person or remote work person, you're going to value your time way more over going back to some office and commuting every single day and hanging out in one single place for your entire day, getting the same amount of work done as you did at home. So the people that are high value in the remote work, in the work from home sector, they're going to be able to continue to do that no problem. Now, if you're not, you're probably going to have to start commuting back into the office, right? Which is like the safety and security of being in the office, right? But then who knows, right? Then we got Chat GPT. Maybe I'm looking for a VA. I'm looking for a VA in the Philippines, right? Because it's the cost to me, right, as an employer. So why wouldn't major companies start doing that? If they can be as efficient as I'm looking for in terms of efficiency, video editing, something I outsource to Pakistan, right? And it's super efficient. I get great content. So why wouldn't I keep doing that if it's going to save me money versus hiring someone here, right? So why wouldn't major corporations follow suit? Why wouldn't they do that? Because if they're going to fight with people about being in the office or not, well, okay, cool. We'll just hire everyone internationally. Corporate profits will soar. But either way, guys, I appreciate you here tonight. We got 9 people on here. If you do have any questions, comments, I am about to get off here though. So looks like you joined at the wrong time. I apologize. But we are here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. going over the market stats, the local news you need to know about if you think about buying, selling, or investing here in St. Augustine, and also doing a Q&A. So if you do have any comments, if you're watching it live, you're watching the replay, if you have any questions, drop them below in the comments. Ask me. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Sometimes the YouTube app doesn't tell me that, I have comments there, and that's my bad. I will try to review them like once a month or so, but it is a lot to cover. But if you have any questions, I'm here to help, guys. Here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So looks like we got nothing. So until next guy, man, I can't talk tonight. Until next time, guys, I'll see you then.